Hello everyone and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you my 4 best bets for tomorrow's racing. Now before we get stuck into that, just a couple of announcements to make. First of all, I've uploaded today my second episode of the Loaders Lane to Cheltenham, where I give you my thoughts and feelings every week, looking at some of those Cheltenham clues, giving you some anti-post tips. So if you want to see that, there'll be a link to it in the description box below, so make sure you click it and go and check it out. And also as well, before I get into the tips tomorrow, quickly as well, just recap on how our selections performed today. In the end, it was another frustrating day. I know this run has been going on for quite some time now. You know, we've had quite a lot of close calls. We've had the odd winner here and there, but it's not been great, and we are down this month. The only thing of note to write home about today was the each way money from Artie Campbell, who finished in third place in the end. But apart from that, it was another dismal day again. The nap was a non-runner, so I guess that was a relief to somewhat of an extent. But the other selections, I thought they were fairly disappointing. Fanny by Gaslight was actually really well supported in the market. We actually advertised her at 17-2 last night, and come post time had attracted quite a lot of money and was 3-1 and second favourite in the betting, and in the end ran nothing like it at all. I don't think Sylvester gave her the best ride. I think you really needed to be handy today at Leicester. If you watched the race in all afternoon, you would have seen that the majority of the horses that were making the frame at least were up there, the pace, and in the end she was in the midfield. She got boxed in okay when she did get switched out. You know, when she did get switched out, she still didn't have any turn of foot to really get involved. So yeah, I just think the style of racing went against her today, and the fact that she wasn't able to get in a good clear position early on, I just think that it was a kind of a lot of things all just fell against her really, and it was really disappointing. So yeah, Fanny by Gaslight, not too many excuses, but I just think maybe she wasn't given the best ride. And then in our next best, Beat by Beat, in the end, again, a frustrating story. Pretty much had held its position in the market all day, round about 6-1 chance. It did drift out actually to 15-2, I noticed, not long before the off, but still was expected to run a good race and travelled beautifully for the majority of it. And then when asked to make his effort, in the end she was badly hampered in the home straight. I don't think she would have won. Don't think it was the greatest ride, but I just, I'm not normally one to criticise jockeys, but I think the race really wasn't run to suit for her, and the fact that she got badly hampered, where she still could have maybe at least made the frame and got us the place money, that didn't help either. So yeah, it was very frustrating day today, and that's kind of the way it's been this month. You know, like we've had a few close calls, a few hard luck stories, but we've had some fair disappointments where none of our horses have got involved. And it's just been one of those months where beforehand in September we seem to be finding winners left, right and centre, you know, having loads of winning naps. We've been really dry on that. We've actually had quite a few non-runners, which has been a shame. So it's not been a great start to October, and it feels like it's been going on forever, but we've still got half the month to go. We need a couple of good days, which I'm hopeful are just around the corner, and then we'll be back in the profit again, you know. So yeah, it's been a frustrating time of late, so thanks for sticking by me and supporting me. And if you're enjoying these videos, please remember to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already, here at Lucky Loaders 15. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can do, where my handle is at Lucky Loader 15. But enough of me waffling on, let's get into the tips for tomorrow's racing. And we go to Nottingham tomorrow for the 345 for the Rouse Stakes, the feature contest there tomorrow, listed race. This is the rearranged race from the Ascot card, which was abandoned last week. So this is a good contest to have for the midweek race in there. And I'm going to be going with my nap here in the form of Dakota Gold. Now, he's obviously got the most solid credentials in this race. He's going to be ridden by Connor Beasley tomorrow, who's riding for Michael Dodge, and currently backing at 9-4. and he brings ultimately the best form in the race. He's been doing really well this season. Yes, he's been frustrating once or twice maybe, but he's still been maintaining his form, running well in Group 3's listed races. He won a Group 3 at York at the weekend over 6 furlongs when making all on soft ground, and it's going to be, I think, a kind of similar scenario tomorrow. Now, this race is over 5 furlongs, but he's very versatile. He can go over 5, he can go over 6. He's a very versatile horse. He normally is a horse that likes to get out there and set the tempo of the race and make all his running, and I can just see him doing the same kind of thing tomorrow, really. There's a lot of horses in here that won't like the ground. Yes, there are a few that will like it too, however they will need to step up and put in a career best performance arguably. Now, our selection, Dakota Gold, will have to give away a small bit of weight, a few pounds, but I still think he should have too much for these, and I think he's a class above really. And he won this race last year. I think he can win it again. And for me, at 9-4 tomorrow, I just think he's a really solid option, and I think he should be a slightly shorter price. So yeah, and Dakota Gold, nothing original there, but he is going to be my nap tomorrow in the 3:45 at Nottingham. We then go to the next best for a bit of jumps action at Wetherby in the 4:45, one of the feature races there, this Class 3 handicap, and I'm going to be going with the current favourite here, Teescomponentslad at 9-2. I think this horse has a really good chance for Sean Quillen and Gillian Bonus. Gillian Bonus, if you don't know who she is, she's a dual-purpose trainer. She does very well with her small string of horses. She's actually going through quite a nice spell at the moment. She's had 3 winners from her last 11 runners, so she's operating at a 27% strike rate. And this horse, I think, is coming up to hopefully get a win in the bag. Now, last time we saw him, he was making his seasonal reappearance at Perth, and he wasn't too far beaten that day. Wasn't a bad race for the grade, and it just stunk of a run really where he needed it, and he would definitely strip fitter for it. And he's had a couple of weeks now to get over that exhaustion and returning to Wetherby, which is, of course, he's won at before on ground that he should like. It's not going to be too testing for him tomorrow. It's currently good to soft, and it might dry out a little bit tomorrow at Wetherby, so it's probably going to be riding on the good side at least. Probably soft might go out of the going description, but Teescomponentslad, he's off a mark of 129, which might be a little bit high in the weights, or some people might think he's a little bit high in the weights there from what he's shown on in the past, but he's still only 7 years old, and you still like to think maybe there could be a little bit of an improvement to him. Seems like he's been around for a while, but 7 years old, I still think he's got a bit more to come from his handicap mark, and I don't think this is a particularly strong field. Yes, there's a few in here that are going to need the run, and also as well making their handicap debut that could be anything. However, I'm just not convinced by their profiles, and I'm not really sure there's anything too much to worry about in here for him tomorrow. So Teescomponentslad, again, it's quite an obvious selection, but I just think he represents a good bit of value there, and I think he could be a bit shorter come post time tomorrow. I could see him maybe going off 10-3, 3-1 favourite for this race when the flag's raised. So yeah, that's going to be the selection there in the 4:45 at Wetherby. Again, not original, but nonetheless I think it's got very solid credentials. We then go my extra tip, which runs in the 6:30 at Kempton, where I go State Occasion for Holly Doyle and Rafe Beckett. You can currently back this horse at 7-1, and I'm going to recommend an each way selection here, even though there's only 2 places. Now, this horse, she is still a maiden after 3 starts. However, she brings some fairly useful juvenile form to the table. She ran in a fairly decent novice race at Ascot on debut, and she finished in 5th place. That form's worked out quite well and provided a few subsequent winners. She then went to Doncaster, and she finished in 4th place that day, actually in 3rd place that day I should say, where actually it wasn't a bad performance. The first 4 home in the race were fairly clear of everything else, and I think that wasn't a bad race for the grade. She then went to Wolverhampton last time, stepping up in trip 2 a mile, and she was a little bit unlucky that day. She didn't get the best of runs, and also as well she did bump into an improver from Archie Watson's yard, who actually had some good form with Indigo Girl and a horse called Final Thoughts, who both went on to win their next subsequent starts. We obviously know Indigo Girl went on to win the May Hill Stakes, and also as well finished 2nd in the Fillies Mile at Newmarket last week. So State Occasion does bring some nice form lines to the table. In this nursery tomorrow as well, she'll get the Fillies allowance, and I just think off a mark in the high 70s. She's got a little bit more to come. And if you actually look at the pedigree as well, she's by a Fras, who don't go too badly on the all-weather. But if you look at the downside of the pedigree, she's related to a lot of all-weather winners, including being a full sister to Forest of Dean, who was a fair horse on the all-weather for John Gosden a couple of years ago. So I think going to the all-weather and staying on the all-weather is going to bring out a little bit more improvement from her. And I just think being trained by Rafe Beckett as well, whose yard have been in good form of late, they've been having quite a few winners. I just think there's a lot in this horse's favour tomorrow to run a really big race, and at 7-1 I'm really keen on this filly's chances. So for me, she's going to be my extra tip, and I recommend a 7-1 each way bet there. We then go my long shot of the day, which runs in the 7 o'clock at Kempton under the floodlights there, with a horse called Hieronymus. I hope that's how I pronounce it, for Nicola Curry and George Baker. Now George Baker, again, his stable have been in fairly good form, operating at a 21% strike rate. Quite a small trainer, actually visited his yard earlier this year, and I think he does fairly well with the ammunition he gets. And he's put Nicola Curry, who's one of his main jockeys he's used to ride this horse tomorrow. Now this horse has definitely been a major improver this year in 2020, has a fantastic record at the tracks, actually won his last 3 starts at Kempton, so it's obviously a track he loves, and a lot of his form stacks up quite well. He ran a respectable race after a short break at Ascot last time to finish in 3rd place on ground that probably wouldn't have suited him. That was behind Rahik for Brian Meehan, who definitely looks like it could be a really nice horse for next season at least. But if you go back to Hieronymus's last run at Kempton, he beat a horse called Marshall Dan, who was actually a winner, I think, yesterday at Musselburgh for Heather Main. He's actually been in really good form of late. And also as well, the 3rd place horse, Lethal Missile, for Clive Cox on that run at Kempton. That horse went on to win at Windsor on its next start. So even though Hieronymus has been going up the weight slightly, and is going up in grade tomorrow, I still think he can be a major player. On his last couple of starts at Kempton, he's been making all the running, and he's got not a bad draw to do it tomorrow in stall 6. If he can get away to a good start, you know, get an easy lead, I think he's got a good chance tomorrow. And you can get 4 places with quite a few bookmakers, including the likes of Skybet, Paddy Power, Betfaier. They're all offering the 8-1 with the 4 places, and I think if he gets an easy lead, I'll be disappointed if he at least finishes out the frame. And I just think with the improvement he's shown and the love for this course, I think he can get another course win under his belt. So that's going to be my long shot tomorrow. Hieronymus at 8-1 each way, and fingers crossed he can go very close for us. So they're the 4 tips for tomorrow. I'll quickly just recap on them. In the 3:45 at Nottingham, we go with Dakota Gold, 9-4 win only bet. In the 4:45 at Wetherby, we go with Teescomponentslad, a 9-2 win only bet. State Occasion is the extra tip of the day in the 6:30 at Kempton, 7-1 each way. And then the 7 o'clock at Kempton, the long shot is Hieronymus at 8-1 each way. 4 places, Skybet, Paddy Power and Betfair. So they're the tips for tomorrow's racing. Like I said, if you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit the subscribe button for more videos here on my YouTube channel. You can also follow me as well, where my handle on Twitter is at LuckyLoaders15. If you're enjoying the video as well, please remember to give us a thumbs up. And if you want to find out a little bit more about myself, you can do, where my website is www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk. So please gamble responsibly. Hopefully we can have some winners tomorrow, and we'll be seeing you soon.